All right, so somebody sent me this video about a cleaning incident, and I'm going to react on how this host handled the situation. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to handle situations like this. So without further ado, here we go.
I just had to charge one of my Airbnb guests an additional $300 cleaning fee on top of what they already paid. And this is why I know that Airbnb is going to pay me for it. So we had a group of 10 guys staying at one of our larger properties for a work trip for 8 days. And as far as we could tell, everything seemed completely normal. Communication was great, the guests seemed friendly, no problems at all. But then they checked out of the property and our cleaner gets there and she lets us know that the place smells like weed. Now, for those of you guys who are Airbnb hosts, this is the same day turn, which means that we have another family coming in that night to check in. Now, to be fair, it was not clear that the group had smoked inside, but there were definite indicators that marijuana had been used on the property. In any case, this is a non-smoking property, which we have on our listing itself.
So yes, in all of our properties, we say there is a strict no smoking policy inside the home. And the biggest reason is, as a father of 2 daughters, I don't want to stay at an Airbnb that smells like cigarettes, vaping, or marijuana, or if there's any cigarette butts on the floor, that is just freaking disgusting. Like, I have a 1-year-old that is crawling, right? Imagine she picked something up, put it in her mouth. Ugh, that's nasty. So for that reason, in all of our properties, we have a strict no smoking policy inside the house. Now, if people want to smoke outside of the house, and then as long as they throw everything in the trash after, I have no problem with that. But again, when they smoke inside, that smell gets trapped to the walls, to the floors, to the linens, the blankets. And it could be very difficult to get rid of that smell. So we always have, hey, if you break this rule and we find any cigarette butts, or if it smells inside, there's going to be a $75 fee. So, so far I agree with what he's saying, because we have same rules. Here we go.
We also state this in our house rules. We put that if there is clear signs of smoking on the property, there's an automatic $300 cleaning fee, which even then we're usually still pretty lax with. If we find a couple butts outside, not a big deal as long as it doesn't smell like smoke inside the house. But in this case, our cleaner had to do a more in-depth cleaning to get the smell out of the property. She also needed to use an ozone generator, which we then also get a $300 invoice for. So step number 1 here is that we need to file an Airbnb air cover claim. With an air cover claim, the request for money first goes to the guest, and they have 24 hours to respond. And this guest actually did respond to the claim with a bunch of questions. Now, on a side note here, we had actually both left reviews before I filed this claim. He left me a 5-star review.
Real quick, guys, it is super important whenever you're going to file a claim, always have the guest submit their review, you submit your review, and then submit the claim. Because once you both submit a review, it cannot be modified or changed. And the reason this is so important is every once in a while you might have someone that is not happy about the claim and is not happy with having to pay an additional fee. They might disagree with it. And people have retaliated in the past where they're like, oh, I was going to leave you a 5-star review, but now you want to charge me an extra $150 that I disagree with? Boom, 3 stars. And that will impact your business so much more than that $150 or $300. So prioritize, make sure you, in fact, I've had situations where if it was a $50 or $80 something on the lower end, if I don't get a review from them, I won't even submit a claim, because I rather get a 5-star review rather than them get upset. Maybe they weren't going to left a review because some people don't leave reviews. And if they would have given you a 5-star. But now that you submitted a claim, now they're upset, now they're retaliating, and guess what? Now they're going to give you a bad review. So in short, always get them to leave a review. You leave a review, it cannot be modified, then you sneak in the claim. And whatever happens, regardless, you still got a 5-star review.
Which was great, but I left him an honest review so that way other hosts would know that marijuana had been used on the property. And he did not like that very much. Although he admitted that it had been used inside or outside or wherever but on the property, he decided that he was not going to pay the $300 additional cleaning fee unless I changed my review. So he comes back and tells me that unless I remove the wording on my review that states that marijuana had been used in the property and that I change it with just, it needed extra cleaning, he wasn't going to pay me the $300. And guys, let me tell you, if you're ever an Airbnb guest and you threaten a host and tell them that they have to remove something from the review before you pay them, this is a big problem. So at this point, it's been 24 hours, so I can now officially involve Airbnb. And when I click to involve them, it asks me if there's any additional info that I need to share with them. And of course, I do tell them that the guest had told me he wasn't going to pay me unless I removed that from my review. Now, Airbnb is going to require that I have clear photos of what was done in the property or outside of the property, and that I also have an invoice from the cleaning company that shows the $300 cleaning fee for the ozone machine.
Real quick, guys, I want to share a tip with you guys. It is very important that whenever you are submitting the claim, you submit the claim before your next guest checks in. It makes it crystal clear as to who is responsible. So you have guests check out at 10 a.m. Your cleaning crew arrives at 10 a.m. ideally, if you have same day guests checking in at 3, 4, or after that same day. Before they even start cleaning the property, they should first do an inspection. Are there any leaks, any repairs? Is there anything missing? Because if there is, they should first take pictures of what the property looked like when the guest checked out, send them to you, ideally through Slack or WhatsApp. This way you have a timestamp as to when you received these images, and then you should submit your claim before your same day guest check-in. This is going to support you in making sure you get paid for whatever damages the guest caused. If you submit the claim 2 days after the next guest checks in, or maybe after a few more reservations, Airbnb is going to say, well, how do we know it wasn't the other guest that stayed there? So that's super important. Let's continue.
But since I have both of those, I'm not going to have any problem getting paid back from Airbnb. This will also reflect super badly upon the guest, and they may even get removed from the platform. So if you're an Airbnb host, you need to make sure that you have yourself covered in every capacity. Make sure that you state things clearly in your house rules and what you charge for things if a guest does something they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
But if you're a guest and you break one of these rules, be smart and don't threaten your host.
Yeah, super important. Anytime you charge for additional anything, like if you have a pet fee, if you have let's say your property hosts up to 12 people, but the pricing you place is only up to 8, then you should state that, hey, for any guests after 8, like for the 9, 10, 11 to 12, it might be, $25 or $50 more per person per night. Whatever it is that you charge extra for, always stated in the agreement, in the booking agreement. Overall, guys, it's a great video, great example of this situation. A big no-no on the guest for threatening the host here, because it's likely they might get removed from the Airbnb platform. And that's unfortunate. Maybe they've been building their reviews as a great guest, which allows them to do instant book. Now that person's not going to be able to book through Airbnb. So that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. And if you have any other videos that you would like for me to react to, drop those videos in the comment section. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.